Welcome to part 2 of Falcon Online. This overview will talk a lot about quizzes and discussions. It's pretty straightforward with quizzes. You'll click on the navigation bar for quizzes. You'll see the listing. You need to make sure you pick the right quiz and notice how long it's open for and what time it closes and how many attempts you have. So these different screens will show you those features. You'll see a summary page for each quiz when you click on it that lays all of that out. You'll see the specific details we highlighted, like how much time you get to complete it, how many attempts, and the quiz period, the dates and time that it's available. It will also show you any instructions and suggest that you save all of your responses as you go along. It will also tell you whether or not you must use the Respondus lockdown browser. This is a tool many teachers use to deter cheating, and basically it stops you from opening another browser while taking the quiz. Make sure you're understanding how the Respondus lockdown browser is used if your instructor requires it. Managing Your Success courses do not use this feature. So when you're ready to start the quiz, you'll see if there's any instructions that have been laid out by your instructor, and you hit start. And it's going to tell you that it might take a moment to load. And you'll see at the top that there's the time limit, how much time you have left, what attempt you're on, and if your instructor put anything in there about estimated lengths. You'll see different kinds of questions. It could be true, false, multiple choice, even essay questions. You'll see the actual questions in the left navigation bar there, and if you've saved them or not. And you can scroll down to see more questions. When you're finished, if you hit Save All Responses, you can hit the Go to Submit quiz, and that will turn it in. It will again give you a fail-safe of, are you sure you want to submit it? Are you ready? Now, you might not have saved all of the questions. That's going to give you a warning about that. It will also give you a reminder about your time limit. Make sure that you're paying attention if you've saved all of your questions before you hit submit. It again gives you a fail-safe. And then once you've actually completed your quiz, some instructors will have the settings put together that you can see answers. Maybe you see correct answers, incorrect answers, neither. You might see questions with answers or just questions. So you have to see how your instructor does it, and they might even do it differently within quizzes within the class. You'll see how many attempts you have and which one you've done. If you've already done one attempt, it'll show you that, and you can start your quiz for another attempt. Again, not every teacher allows multiple attempts, and they might not even use multiple attempts within the same class on multiple quizzes. In discussions, basically you're going to click on the discussion tab, and you're going to get to the list where you're going to see forums and topics. Forums are usually just a description of the kinds of discussion boards you're going to participate in, and the topics are the actual place where you will click on the discussion topic name and post your feedback, your comments, and your discussion posting. You can collapse them because sometimes they get to be kind of long and they get hard to scroll through just by clicking on those arrows. So you can see an example here of a discussion and the instructions within. You can scroll right down on it and you can read the directions. Now, when you actually want to create a posting, you do something called starting a new thread. It's just like an email. You'll put a subject. You need to check with your instructor what they want there. And same with the message area. They might have a word count, for example. Stick with the standard font that's already there. I really wouldn't suggest changing any of that, even though we show you that here. Stay professional and academic. It should basically be the standard font given in black font. And then when you're finished, you can hit post. Now, again, pay attention to how your instructor wants the subject to be named. They might ask you to put a particular wording in it. Also, check for word counts in the actual message area. You can save a draft if you want to work on it for a little while before you actually post the final copy of it. But when you're ready, you hit post. You can spell check, which is preferred. At the bottom of the screen there, you'll see a little ABC with a check mark in the HTML editor. It's not 100% perfect, but it's better than nothing if you're not the best speller. This is how you'll see when something's been posted. So you'll see anybody who has posted, including their name, the title that they gave it, which is the subject, who wrote it, and the date. When you're finished, you can hit done and it'll get you out of the discussion area. But maybe you want to reply. Different instructors will ask for different things, but most of them would love it if you do this. When you go to discussions, you click on the name and you see a student that you want to reply to. So she clicks on the name of the student who posted there, Zach Johnson Introduction, and sees his posting, and she can click reply to thread. Now this is in reading view. I'm going to show you a couple of options, but you hit reply to thread, and what it does is it will put his original posting below what she writes, so you can see the whole conversation. Here's an example in grid view, and in grid view you would choose reply and it'll do the same thing. What it does, as I mentioned, is it automatically in the subject area says RE:, which means I'm responding to that particular post. She writes, hi, Zach, whatever she wants to write, but below it you'll see Zach's original post. That way you can follow the whole conversation. Your instructor knows which one of your classmates you're responding to and what that original post was. Now, if that isn't there for some reason, then what you can always choose is that add original post text, which should be an option if it isn't already done in the reply. Don't add attachments unless your instructor tells you to do so. Once you're done, you hit post and you're good to go. So it'll show the original post from Zach, for example, and below you'll see Ellie's response and it's indented, which when you're reading it in that particular view, you'll see that it's an easy way to denote that. In grid view, then it's not going to be indented because it's unthreaded. So you need to go to your settings and decide how you want this to work. The next few screens, I'm just going to show you these examples because depending on what your preference is, you might set it up different ways. There's not a right or wrong way, it's a personal preference. Here is reading view. Here's grid view. Let's talk about that navigation again. You can, in your discussion area, you can choose to read all of the posts or mark all of the posts as read. You can change how you read the activity. You can read more of the actual post if it's collapsed a little bit because it's longer. You can collapse the actual list in the navigation bar if you don't want to see all of the discussions, for example. And again, the examples I've given you are either grid or reading view for the actual posts. In the reading view, this is what you're going to see. There's also this flyout menu. Now, when you are doing the overview of your discussions, you might want to think about how you want to be notified, if at all, that somebody's posted. You can subscribe to a topic, and what that will do is tell you, hey, somebody has posted in that topic area. This is important because some instructors use a feature where it's called post and reply, where you have to actually post something before you can reply to anybody else. You have to post before you can see anybody else's posts. So you might think, hey, nobody's doing this assignment, but really they're doing it and you're not. So you need to make sure that you're paying attention to that. And one way you can check is subscriptions. So here are some screens to show you how to set that up in your account. And again, you can pause these screens if you want to read more. So as you can see, there's a lot of features that you can use to make the environment more useful for you. There's a lot of settings and a lot of features that get you to the same place, just in a different way. And these screens, again, will show you that. And I may be going a little quickly through this, but again, you can stop each screen and read through them. When we get to the feedback and comment aspect in Falcon Online, it's really important for you to understand that your instructors take time to read your work and try to give you valuable feedback and comments. So here's a few things that you need to be aware of. In the assignment folder, you'll see it in the feedback area. There's going to be comments, and it says Dropbox feedback. It's actually assignment folder feedback. And that's basically a general comment. They might also give you an attachment that they will refer to and say, hey, look at the attachment. Or they'll make comments on your actual attachment. So let's say in the assignment folder, again, you go to View in the feedback area. If they made comments on your particular assignment, you might need to reopen your submission, open it up, and when you, depending on your version of Word that you're using, you might have to either work with view or markup. It's found in different ways, different places. And it's either going to be a hover over or it's going to be a little bubble like that. And the markup comment saying, hey, look, I'm making a comment on that particular part of what we're talking about. So that little line leading back into the paper. Again, another version of Word is it might be under Review and Comments, and it might show in a little bubble in pink. So again, you need to realize how it might show up. Some of the older versions have other markups as well. If you see a little balloon like that, that means that you need to hover over it, and it will tell you what you have. You can also see comments in a PowerPoint. And you can also see rubrics. And these rubrics are different kinds of grading tools that instructors use, mainly in papers and projects, but they might use it for other things as well. So it's basically laying out different criteria they're looking for and how you're being assessed. So if there is a rubric, when you click on View, what you're going to see in the grading area is this chart, and it's going to tell you what you scored and why. So if you scored in the exemplary area, for example, it's going to lay all these things out, whereas not college level writing is going to say these are the kinds of errors that you made. And you'll see a check mark or scores. So realize that you might want to take a look at these pages to see the various kinds of feedback similar in each of these features and functions of the kinds of comment areas that your instructor's using to give you feedback, and how to do settings to find them as well. Hopefully this has been helpful for you so that you can see all of the different kinds of feedback and assistance your instructors are trying to give you as you progress through your course. Make sure that you go back and stop on any of the slides that you want to read for more detail. And if you have any questions on how to use any of these features and functions, get in touch with the technical help desk.